everybody. Welcome to the Girls of 309 podcast. We are a group of girls and we lived in the room 309. We are a podcast about four roomies turned besties. And we talk about Disney World, our Disney college program, our general Disney opinions, anything else we can think of that day. I am your host for this episode. This is Custodians Poop 2.
Number 2.
The poopening.
The great poopening.
Disclaimer. If you didn't watch the first Custodian episode, 1, go watch that. 2, we're going to talk about a lot of shit, okay? Literal shit and just general shit. You never know. So if you have a weak stomach, I don't know, maybe gird your loins. I don't know. But me and Shelby are back to talk about more Custodian stuff. We only did the one program. We don't have anything else to talk about. So we're going to talk about Custodian poop stories again. I would say back by general demand, but no one has asked. No one asked for this.
Here. We're telling you anyways, though, so sit down.
That's right. Sit down and shut up. So anyways, I'm Ashley, and I'm joined by these lovely ladies.
Hi, everyone. I'm Annalicia.
And
Hi.
I'm Shelby. Why is this already the most chaotic episode?
Yeah. And I'm
No other
Stephanie.
host.
Hello. It's
And we're the
Ashley's
girls
fault.
of 309. Anyway, so we are going to talk about being custodians again. I do have some specific questions that I thought of. There were a couple stories that I remembered that I didn't tell you guys last time. So let's get into it. Episode 2, the poopening. Shelby, would you ever work as a Walt Disney World custodian again?
Okay, this is a tricky question. You said as a custodian, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is tough. One, I think because that would mean I'd be living in Florida again, which is incredibly hot, and other things. But I don't know. I guess the best answer I can give you is that it's not a hard no, but not an enthusiastic yes either. It's the set of conditions I could imagine myself working as a custodian again in would be for whatever reason, I've retired to Florida, and I am just old and eccentric and don't care about anything anymore. And I would become like the other custodians I worked with who were retired and worked there just for the benefits. And they just worked part-time. And they didn't give a fuck. They would do whatever they wanted. They were my idols. As I mentioned in the last episode, there was one man in particular I worked with who he would do his job, don't get me wrong, but when he wanted a break, he'd go watch his stories in the custodial closet on his phone. And there was another guy I worked with. I forgot to mention in the last episode that after you work at a resort for so many days, you are opened up to being I think they use the word deployed. You get deployed to other resorts if they need people. So the Grand Floridian was my home resort, but actually I worked at the Grand Floridian, the Polynesian, the Contemporary, Coronado Springs, and I believe the Beach and Yacht Club. So I actually worked at quite a few resorts. But when I worked at the Polynesian, there was this old man who his job was pretty much just to ride around in a golf cart and pick up trash. Like that's all
life.
he did.
That's a good
And-
job.
Yeah. And I was like, man, well, that's the dream. Like, he would literally just drive this little golf cart everywhere. And one day I got really lucky and I got put with him for a little bit. So we were driving around. And at the time that I worked there, the Polynesian was under heavy construction. So everyone who worked there was super laid back because they didn't have a ton of guests at the time. And we were driving on the little golf cart back by the pool, and they had one dock at the time, and we drove out onto the dock because there was this little area. He was like, we have to check it for trash. And he said that, like, his morning routine was that he would go check all the areas for trash, drive out on the dock, and just hang out there for like 20 minutes. And he said that his cover was that if anyone ever found him, he would just pretend like he fell asleep because he's old.
Disney's not gonna accept you fell
Genius.
asleep on that job. That's a horrible cover.
Listen, he was having the time of his life.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think if it were under retiree conditions, maybe. What about you?
Well, I do live in Florida now, so the possibility is greater than before. I'm similar to your answer in that I wouldn't be like, yeah, totally. Because it would have to be so specific. And like, yeah, like if I'm older, maybe retired and just like looking for something to do and I could just chill. And I would only work in like the fall winter time. I wouldn't really work in the summer. Because it's been like 95 plus and then 90% humidity here. It's so god awful. Like, I can't describe to you the horrible feelings. So,
But we'll describe the poop to you.
yeah. I'll describe to you the texture of the poop I had to clean up, but
This heat is just too much.
it's too much for words, truly. But yeah, I could maybe see it happening in very specific circumstances because the benefits are nice. The literal benefits of the job and the benefits of like just being able to walk around Disney World for your job is pretty cool, and getting to talk to guests and interact, and I do like that. So maybe.
But now you can get
Stefan
a
and Alicia.
Florida annual pass, so
Exactly. Now I have a pass, so I can just go for a couple hours and go home to the air conditioning.
yeah. I think I'd choose that.
Exactly. Stefan and Alicia, would you guys ever be custodians?
That's a great question. I was like actually surprised that y'all said that you thought being a custodian was the perfect position for you for your college program. So when you said that, I was like, it gave me more of a positive outlook on the job, but you know, I just can't do bodily waste. I just can't do it. So I think
That's
it'd
fair.
be a no for me.
I could actually probably get past the bodily waste, but believe it or not, what I probably wouldn't be able to get past would be the loneliness.
Oh, this extrovert.
We
What's it
drive
like?
in the dark.
In our dark closets and our chemicals.
Yeah, y'all were basically the witches of Disney World, right?
You got your little brooms.
Chemicals and the brooms.
I specifically remember like coming home from work, or Shelby would come home from work and I'd be like, Shelby! And I'd open my arms up and I would give her a hug, and her literally telling me like, thank you, Annalicia. I've had no human interaction all day and your hugs are so nice. Like, I was like, oh, that's not good. I don't like that. So I think I would just get super lonely, like, not, and maybe it would be better if like it was lonely but I have really cool experiences that I could talk about. If it's lonely and then on top of that let's just sprinkle in the bodily fluid experience.
So cool.
Just sprinkle a little extra for fun.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to be a custodian. Custodian and lifeguard were my two like hard no's when I applied for the Disney College program, and I'm happy that they didn't make me be a lifeguard or a custodian.
Oh yeah, can you imagine Annalicia as a lifeguard? She would be like that. She'd be
So
like that
anxious.
lifeguard we had at the pool. Do y'all remember him? I was like, yeah, all right. He was trying to make so much conversation with us.
Poor
He
guy.
was probably lonely.
He was very
So
lonely.
is that I kind of feel for him. Yeah, that like
I
would
know.
also be lonely. I would want to talk and interact with guests and be like, please talk to me, tell me anything. I'm so bored here. Like I would, but then also like being in charge of like if someone started drowning, I would be like, someone get a real lifeguard. Someone get an adult, not me.
Who's an adult?
The anxiety would just not. So yeah, I'm sorry. No custodian and no lifeguarding for me. Anything else I would be willing to maybe try? Maybe. But yeah, sorry.
I think you would like being a park custodian decently because you're surrounded by people.
I guess that's true. Where like Shelby talks about how at the convention center there was like no one there, or like cleaning up the wedding area, like no one being there. I would be very sad. I feel like time would just stop in its tracks. I would be like, oh my god, I've only been here for 5 minutes. Oh my god.
Yeah, you don't really get that in the parks, except for like when it's like closing and like people have gone, but then you're just like cleaning up your areas and ready to go, so it's not that bad.
I see.
And
Maybe.
I think, just to touch on that point, I think as a custodian you are often around people, but can often be invisible too, because
That's
people very commonly look past custodial workers. Because I remember too, like we're trained to say hi to people and like smile at them, and I remember doing that numerous times and having no response or
Just looked right through
like
you.
acknowledgement. Yes, so just a tad bit there.
Yeah, we really are like invisible to like until someone needs something, and then the custodians are the first one that someone will go to, like
Right.
asking where the bathrooms are, which makes sense. But like asking directions around the parks, asking like times for parades or the fireworks or anything, like at least in the parks, everyone found the custodians because they saw them everywhere. So they think that you have been everywhere and know it.
You know, I mean, because really we're the most accessible people, like Disney cast members, you know, on the ground, kind of.
We had little like pamphlets of information. Did you guys ever get those for your shifts? Okay. I forget what they were called.
They had the 4 keys in the front of them. I remember that, but
they were called something specific. But it was just like the times, like park open and close, what time the fireworks were that day, like where the characters were meeting. So like if a guest came up and asked you like, hey, where can I get chicken nuggets here? You can like open up your little pamphlet.
Oh, I
and be
remember
like,
now. It's that small little
Yeah.
booklet
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
they had like new ones every day.
I bet you these days cast members will just pull up their phone and just be like, oh, this and this restaurant has chicken nuggets. I'm sure
Right?
there's
Like,
no
are they?
pamphlets anymore.
We weren't allowed to have our phones. We did,
Yeah.
but we weren't allowed to have our phones on stage when we were there. So I don't know if that's changed now.
I mean, I've seen cast members with their phones like last time we went, but I don't know if it was allowed or not.
Right. Because yeah, they push the app so much nowadays, the My Disney Experience app.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
which is, it's nice. There's a lot of information on there, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I forget if I was going to tell another story or not.
Tell us a story, Ashley.
Well, here's a short story. My college program was the first time I ever said fuck.
Really? Why did you say this word?
And that's the podcast.
Done. I think it was when I opened the stall and found the poop on the floor. I just went, fuck. And I had never said that out loud.
Oh.
I actually remember you telling me that, like, when you came home from work that night, you mentioned that you said the word fuck, and we were both like, oh no, like, what is Disney doing to us? Because at the time we were very innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, goody two shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, kind of bouncing off the first question, would you ever work at Walt Disney World again in a different role? So, like a dream role, or what would get you back there?
Enthusiastic, yes.
Yeah.
Can I have Bob Iger's job? So I won't make terrible comments about the writers' strike.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Please.
Shelby for president.
Yes. No, just kidding. I can't handle that pressure. I thought a lot about this one, and at first I was like, kind of similar to your first question. There would have to be like almost a perfect storm of events, I think, to put me in a place to go back there. But then I thought again, and I think all the jobs I would want, I would not be qualified or have the skills for. I mean, like, it would be like, you know, when you're a kid and you are like, I just want to do this, and you have no idea what that entails. So if I'm going down that route, I actually was thinking it could be fun to be a Disney event planner.
Ooh.
One of my favorite shows used to be the Disney Fairy Tale Wedding Show, where they would show you the weddings at the park and the proposal plannings. So, like, that would be a lot of fun. Or my in-park job I thought about is one place I think I would actually love to work at would be the Monsters Inc. laugh floor.
Yeah.
And I would
my
want
God.
to write the jokes
Yes.
or be the person back there who interacts with everybody.
So fun.
Nice.
It's a great idea.
I love that for you.
Full of dad jokes.
Exactly.
You'd be great at that, Shelby.
Yeah.
Perfect. I assume you're in the air the whole time. That was my whole thing. I was like, I mean, as much as it's fun to like walk around outside and see people, I was like, I'm just getting older and I don't think I can handle this being in the heat all day.
Yeah.
So that's my answer. Ashley, could you are there any other roles you could see yourself in?
Actually, yes. Going to school for like esthetician stuff now, there are like spas at Walt Disney World, so I could work at one of the spas and I could see myself doing that.
Ooh.
I think Grand Floridian has a spa there.
Oh yes, I had to clean those bathrooms.
Oh.
And that was the most zen experience of my college program.
Ooh.
They told us, they were like, you have to be super quiet when you go in. And when you go in, I could be remembering this wrong, but I just imagine like a whole building of steam and just that very zen yoga music, you know?
No, that sounds right.
But it was beautiful.
Yeah, so I can definitely see that. There are spas on the cruise ships. I don't think I would want to do that because then you'd like be gone the whole time, so like a couple days or a week at a time. So I would want to come home every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely could see myself doing that. Like if we lived closer, we're like an hour away right now, so it wouldn't really be worth it for me to do that. I wouldn't make enough money driving back and forth. But slash, my other answer is to be in the cosmetology program and like style the wigs
Yes.
and like teach the girls how to do their makeup, like for the parades and stuff. I think that would be very cool.
Yes, that'd be so fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So I need to learn how to style wigs before I can get that job.
These are our dream jobs. We don't have to have the skills, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're just dreaming.
Yeah, this is a perfect world. Alicia and Steph, did you guys kind of answer that question in your part too? Like what your
No.
dream job would be to get back there? Well, why don't you briefly touch on that?
Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay. Well, I originally had a dream to be a Disney Imagineer, and I have come to find out that that is really difficult to do. I would still love to do it. It's again that job that I don't know if I have the skills / qualifications, but I would love to do that. To just set up the entire attraction and make it look amazing and magical and just like see the end product and be like, I had a hand in that. Like, I would love to do that. But as an in-park job, I have two. I think I would really enjoy Haunted Mansion, being any cast member in the Haunted Mansion attraction, because I think I like their outfits. One, they are so cute.
They're cute.
They are super cute. They look very hot, but I don't care. I would get used to it. I would make myself get used to the heat. And my second one is I really, really, really have always wanted to dance in a Disney parade. I don't even care if I'm a main character or if I'm just one of the side people in a cool looking costume. But I've always wanted to be in a parade. They look like they're having so much fun, and I love to dance, and so that would be the thing. That would be the thing. Yeah.
I love that.
That's great. Maybe one day. I still think you could totally be an Imagineer. I still think they would be very lucky to have you. But
thank you.
As for me, I've always wanted to be a face character, so that's still kind of the dream. If I were to go back, it'd be a lot of fun, I think, to be a face character, at least for a little bit. And I went to several auditions. They're tough, and, you know, they are picky about who they choose, but yeah, that would be what I would choose, I think, if I were to go back.
What character would you really, really, really want to be friends with?
Maybe like Rapunzel or Anna.
Ooh, both really good.
Yes, I like both of those.
I can
a
see
lot.
that.
My part B answer to this question, I just thought about it, is the storytellers in the Frozen Ever After show.
Yes.
Oh, they are so
I would
funny.
love to do that.
You would be perfect at
You
that.
would.
Thank you.
Love them so much.
That would be great because I'd get to be in a costume, and like a lot of times those women are like curvy, so I wouldn't have to be skinny.
Yes.
Because I'm not gonna be a face character, okay? I've given up that dream. I am too voluptuous, but I could tell jokes.
You can. You're a great actress.
You've got your wits.
That's right. They can't take that from me. All right. What lessons or skills did you take from your experience as a custodian? Do you see yourself using them in your everyday life? Picking up poop every day?
There's a lot of lessons you can learn in a pile of poop.
You sure are.
Actually, there's not. No, but I think that one of the biggest things I learned is that discomfort is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a sign of growth. especially when you're doing something that makes you uncomfortable. And I mean that to say, like, when you're doing something that feels challenging, I don't mean like discomfort in working conditions or personal interactions. It's not the same thing. Let's make that
No.
clear.
Yeah.
I think more so in like at the time, especially, I didn't know how I was gonna, you know, handle the even the physical demands of the job, the social demands of it at times, um, and being somewhere completely new, like we mentioned a few times, the first time away from family. Um, yeah, so I think the biggest thing I've learned in all of that, and sometimes I'll even say to myself today, like, hey, you did this thing all these years ago that you really didn't know if you were going to make it at times, and you survived it. And not just survived it, but like were able to make the most of it at times. So I feel like that's the biggest lesson is that we are much more capable of than we think we are, and sometimes we're not, and we have to quit, and that's okay too. So that's my answer on that. what did you learn from all your poop tragedies?
I mean, definitely similar to that too. That I can get through hard things and things that are scary. Now I forgot what I was gonna say. Your answer was so good.
Aw.
I was like, wow,
Thank
you're so
you.
right.
Well, do we want to ask Steph and Annalicia that one too, and then maybe if you
Yeah,
it'll
if I
come
think
to
of
ya?
something. Steph and
Okay.
Alicia, what'd you learn from your roles that you used today?
Annalicia?
I never know who's gonna
I
go first. I definitely learned that people who are in hot temperatures are gonna have a face that looks like they're angry. They're not. They're having a good time. Don't overthink it. Don't think that you just ruin, because I was definitely a very much overthinker, and when I was like a greeter in front of Kilimanjaro safaris, I'd be like, Jumbo, welcome, and they would just like walk past me, ignore me, have the hot face. It is not me. They're just hot. They're just warm. That's all their
Everyone
bodies
is
can
so
concentrate on.
hot.
And I've also like come to learn that like not every experience needs to play out the way you think it's going to in your head. You need to be okay
Ooh.
with things being not that. That's definitely something that I've learned in both my Kilimanjaro Safari one and in my professional internship one, where I had this idea of what it was going to be like working for Disney, and it ended up not being that. And I had to I was sad about it, but also at the same time, I was like, this is still okay. You're still experiencing good experiences. Like, you just gotta make the most of everything that comes to you, I think is the biggest thing I took away from. Yeah.
I love that.
That's really good, yeah. Oh gosh, I think I forgot to. I was trying to think.
I'm trying to think and listen. My
I
brain's
know. This is like a job interview. This is like a job interview. It's like on the spot.
What strengths do you bring to the table?
What
Okay,
did you
wait,
learn from
I
your
do have
class?
like a follow-up question that I want to ask that I'll maybe hopefully stall time everybody, but Ashley and Stephanie answer this question. Or yeah.
So
So
Shelby?
so Shelby. This
It finally happened.
Did you still, leaving your Disney experience, were you still two-finger pointing at everything for a while? Because I feel like my hand was cursed for like at least a decent year after the college program and after my professional intern, where I was just two-finger pointing everywhere, and everyone was like, there's Annalicia showing off that she used to work at Disney, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Let me just tuck that finger back in where it belongs.
I did the same thing. Yep.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not. So when you're there, like, oh, what kind of things did you take away from your Disney experience? My brain is like two-finger point. That never went away. I took that away.
Yeah.
I like purposely didn't two-finger point out of spite once I got out.
You were like, no.
Never again.
We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I think I did for maybe a minute, and then it didn't. I feel like that was a thing when we got there. So everyone was like, "Oh, just you wait. You're still gonna be doing the Disney point when you get out of here." And it didn't stick with me quite as much as I thought it would. Sometimes when I point now, I do think about it and then want to do it intentionally. Just I don't know, some sort of like endearing
Reflex.
memory or something. Yeah.
I will do a whole hand sometimes, though.
Yeah.
Oh.
The whole hand is an option, and I will do that like for directions a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Still in there.
Okay, I remembered what I was going to say.
Yay!
I was just going to say that my first Disney college program in particular, and college in general, just showed me how capable I am to do so many things at one time. Because I don't know if y'all remember, but I was working full-time at Walt Disney World. I was taking 2 college classes, because you can actually take college classes
Yeah.
at Disney University to get credit to go towards your credits in college. So I was taking 2 classes, and I was in a play. I was in 2 plays, actually, I think, during that time. So yeah, they had a theater group at that time that I auditioned for. So I was doing that as well. Like, I have no idea how I had time to do all of that. And nowadays I have time for nothing, and I just work one job. But that's how it is, I
Yeah.
guess. So much energy.
I feel that.
Dude, both you and Annalicia, because Annalicia, you were in one play, right?
I
Also?
was, yeah.
Yes. Me and Annalisa
I
did
just-
a play together.
Yeah.
So much fun. I miss
It was fun.
I just remember thinking, like, I'm just trying to go to work and come home.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm falling apart sometimes. And you two are just like, "Bing, bing, 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 bing." I have no idea how you.
I honestly
so
I don't know
much.
either.
I'm fueled
But
off
we
of
did it.
magic.
Well, Ashley, did your answer ever come to you?
It did. Not to get too sappy,
Oh.
but I feel like my program taught me to value myself and what I bring to the table, and just the personality that I have. Because I came from a family with a lot of really strong personalities, and so not that I wasn't valued. Like, I had a very supportive and loving home. Don't get me wrong at all. But like, I feel like once I got there, and it was like this whole new surrounding and situation where like you're working for a pretty big corporation. Like, yeah, it's Disney and it's magical, but it is a giant corporation, and you're just kind of a tiny cog in the wheel. So you kind of have to believe in yourself, because no one at work is going to. But you have to show up, and you have to do the work yourself. And I mean, no one's gonna make the magic happen for you. You got to do it. So there was a lot of times when I did feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this, if I can succeed at this. But just like through pure will, I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
And I did. I made it. And like, especially like meeting you guys and how much you valued my strong will and my decisiveness.
Yes. We
Yes.
need you,
Lost
Ashley.
without you, Ashley. Like,
As soon as
we're not even joking. We'll literally
Yeah.
be like, oh, do you want to do this, this, or this? Like, we'll have options in front of us, and we'll all literally turn to Ashley and be like, Ashley, decide for us. What are we doing?
yeah,
You.
she
Yes,
left.
and I had never had that before, because when you're surrounded by people with strong opinions, no one's like looking to you, be like, Ashley, you make the decision.
A leader.
Yes, you were my little green aliens. Like, the claw.
You
Look
saved
at
us.
Yeah, when she left, like
Yeah.
2 months before our program ended, we were like just looking at each other, like, what do we do without Ashley?
We were lost.
So we are very
There was
grateful.
one night where we couldn't decide, and we ended up just staying on the couch doing nothing because we couldn't decide what we wanted to do.
I'm
We were
sure. So lost.
Which I still don't know how that happened, because I guess we haven't really said it on the podcast, but my program was 4 months long, and all three of you did 6-month long programs.
Mhm.
So I don't know how I got paired up with you guys, like
Yeah.
roomie wise, but
It was fate.
yeah,
It
it
was
was fate
fate.
and magic that brought us together.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I want to add a little tangent to your question, kind of, and just mention that I think too, when you're coming into your early 20s is also when you start realizing some of the mental health issues that you might have. And that is also a lot to process while you're going out into the world for the first time. And that you're also capable of doing that, and that there will be people around you who will help support you and hold you up when it's a lot harder some days. So I definitely think about that too when I think about things that I learned at that time.
Yeah, that's really good.
Nice.
Yes. It's something you don't think about that you will
Yeah.
learn, like doing a Disney college program.
No.
Yeah.
But it's important too.
You
Definitely.
learn things about yourself you didn't know. You won't know until you pick up human poop. Do you really know
That's right.
yourself? Do you really know
That's
what you're
right.
capable of?
Yeah. Kind of bouncing off that, what advice would you give your 19-year-old self that you think would have helped you in your program?
I think, let's see, I kind of mentioned this before. I wish at the time I would have known to take the pressure off of myself. I think, Annalisa, you maybe touched on this a little bit, or I think this is what you're getting at, is that going into the Disney College program, I kind of had some very naive expectations about where it could potentially take me. And I think a lot of Disney College program kids, at least at the time, went into it thinking like somehow I'm gonna pivot this into my Disney career. And like Ashley mentioned, that it is Disney, but it is a corporation. And I think at the time there were like 70,000 people working at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
And so I wish at the time I had known, listen, it's not going to become, this dream career that you think it is. And that sounds bad, but actually, if you can let go of that, you can let go of the pressure associated with that. And you can just have fun. Like, just be 19, you're never going to be 19 again. Go hide in all the custodial closets. Like, if you get termed, like, have fun doing it, And that would be my thing now, is like, there was so much pressure to not get fired and uphold this image, and now I'm like, why? Like, just like have fun. Enjoy it while you're there. Be I think you can be a decent worker without overworking yourself, and I think that's something that happens to a lot of Disney kids. Is it's their first program, they want to prove themselves, and so they like go balls to the wall is the only phrase coming to mind. And don't do that. Like, take a step back, do your best, but give yourself a break because you deserve it. Yeah, and just have fun. That is pretty much what I wish I had known at the time. What would you say to 19-year-old Ashley? Or wait, you were 20, right?
I think I was 20 when I got there. Yeah, just to chill out for one. Like, it's gonna be okay. And like, there are people to help you if you don't know what you're doing. And like, I had put this pressure on myself that like, once I had gotten out of training, that I was just ready to go and would know everything and would have every answer. And it's like, just ask people. Like, if you've never been in an area, go up to your coordinator. Be like, hey, I've never been in this area. Can someone show me where the trash cans are? Cool. Like, I would get so much anxiety. Like, what if I get a spot I've never been in before? I'm not going to know where all the trash cans are. I'm not going to know how to do it. Like, girl, just ask somebody. Why was that such a big deal? But, like, it did. It felt like the biggest thing in the world. And just to relax. And honestly, I think I would tell 20-year-old me to extend my program and stay with you guys for those last 2 months.
Yes! You were so happy to leave, but that makes me happy.
I was.
You were like, peace out,
now. I was so homesick, guys.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Within a month of getting there, I was like counting down the days until I got to go back home. So I know where I was, and I know that I never would have extended, but like, I just wish that I would have just had to have stayed the 6 months, and I would have had the option to leave, and I could have just stayed with you guys. But I guess in the same breath, like, I'm still gonna see you guys a lot in my life. So
forever. Can't get rid of us.
I wasn't there for those last 2 months. Right. You're gonna start a podcast with them where you share all your poop stories. It's gonna be okay.
Go on vacations all the time.
Yeah.
Right. We'll reunite in Disney World once again.
Yes, we're planning our 10-year reunion next year at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I actually, if you don't mind me interrupting for a question, I wanted to ask, because when you were like, oh, just ask somebody, it kind of made me wonder, like, I don't know if that atmosphere was like what you're getting at, or like just me or what, but it kind of almost felt like you were expected to automatically know a lot of stuff that was obviously not like common knowledge. It didn't feel sometimes like, I don't know if it was just certain bosses, coordinators, I don't know who my immediate supervisors were, I don't remember their title, but I definitely felt with some of them that I could not come to them to ask a question, because they would be like, how do you not know this? How have you never done this before? Like, I had that like unknown pressure, and I distinctly remember it because there was a time where the line was getting long, and they were like, okay, we need to open up more of the line, like open up the rope and everything. And I wanted to be sure that I didn't accidentally let people cut other people. And I was so scared. And I was like, and luckily someone else was there, was like, here, I'll help you and I'll do it. And I watched them as they did it. And they were like, see, that's easy. And I'm like, this is still a maze to me. I still don't understand where you moved this rope and all of a sudden it worked. I had no idea, but my brain was like, yup. And that's what I answered. And my brain was like, I just pray to God, I hope I never get asked to do that again, because I can't ask. I can't ask for help on this. They've already shown me, you know? And so I didn't know if like that was something that you also related to, or if that was just a me thing. Like,
I mean, definitely. I don't think it was like something that other people put on me. It was definitely just me having that expectation for myself of just needing to know everything and be perfect. And I do remember kind of relating to like being a perfectionist about it all. When we were in traditions, we were in this like random classroom or whatever. And we come in there with bright stars in our eyes and everything's magical and this is the most amazing thing and everything's perfect. And I remember sitting in that classroom and I saw like chipped paint on the wall. And I was like, you know what? Not everything is perfect here.
Ooh.
And
yeah.
in a way it was kind of a relief to me, because I am a perfectionist and I will like hold that standard above my head until I die trying to get to it. And so seeing that, it's like, you know what? This place isn't perfection. So it's okay to just be a human being working here, you know? So maybe look for some chipped paint wherever you're at and be like, you know what? It's okay. You can make mistakes too. Even Disney's got some chipped paint.
That was beautiful.
Beautiful. I love that.
Beautiful.
Serious,
analogy.
Ashley.
Title of this episode: Looking for chip paint.
Right. So, what's an experience that you had during your program that not the everyday person would have got to experience? So, like a certain place you got to go, or, you know, like the story I told walking down Main Street by myself. Like, what are your secret experiences that the everyday park goers probably never going to get to do?
Yes. So this is going to sound silly and like a little arbitrary, but one of my favorite things were the secret doors. Just there are a lot of doors from on stage to backstage that you might not know were doors if you weren't like really looking for it. And specifically at the Grand Floridian, there's this big, beautiful grand staircase. And underneath that staircase is actually a custodial closet. It's very Harry Potter-esque triangular door that you open under there. And I don't know, there's just something really funny to me about like them wanting to preserve the magic so much in a sense that like cast members are always just there and they just magically appear. And you never see them. I mean, I'm sure people do, of course, see cast members coming from backstage to on stage, but like that they cared that much that they would make these hidden doors. Because like our door backstage to kind of where our lunch area was too was just like a piece of what looked like the wall, and you know you would just go push it inward to get back there. So there's kind of that like, I don't know, feeling like you're in on the secrets of Disney, you know? And then too, I was thinking about other people might get to experience certain things at Disney, but never in the way that a Disney employee does. So like specifically, I was thinking there's a restaurant in the Grand Floridian called Victoria & Albert's. And if you don't know, at the time at least it was a 5-diamond restaurant. And I think there's only like so many of those, maybe in the US or the world. And I have been to Victoria & Albert's, not to eat, but to roll the hand towels in the bathroom. So like, it's just, I don't know, there's something so funny to me about like going to these places that people dream of, and I've technically been in them, but doing the thing that not a lot of people really want to do. And that like most Disney guests would not think about those experiences. Or like one time I was working at the Contemporary and I was actually on my dinner break and I got called off a break. And so, you know, I was like, what's happening? Why am I getting called off a break? And there was a group of us who got called to, do you guys remember, what's the name of the restaurant in the top of the Contemporary?
Is it the park one? Or no? Oh, the Contemporary, sorry.
No, I can't remember, but it's
Ocean
supposed to be
Grill?
a nicer...
Steakhouse 71?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
I've never stayed there.
But it's supposed to be a pretty nice restaurant where everyone wants to get in around fireworks because if you don't know, the Contemporary has this really high floor, and so from there you can like eat dinner and have the perfect view of the fireworks. Annalicia, did you find it?
I did. It's called the California Grill.
Wow.
Does that sound
We were so
yes.
wrong.
Yes.
I said grill.
Thank
We
you,
were off.
Google.
But we all get called up to this fancy restaurant. And I think the reason those stick out in my mind is that, like, there are these very generic normal things happening next to people who are ordering, like, food that probably cost a ton of money. And you're always expected to go into these places, like, very hush hush. You know, like, you have to, those are the times where you really have to be invisible. But I go into the California Grill, and there's a coordinator up there, and he's got like 4 or 5 of us, and he's like, come into this bathroom. And so we're all in this bathroom, and someone had flooded one of the toilets.
Oh no.
And so, like, I don't know, outside of the bathroom, it's just like this really lovely fancy dinner going on. And in this, I think it was a men's restroom, there's like 4 or 5 custodians who are freaking out, panicking, and have towels all over the floor trying to get all the water off the floor before anyone needs to go into that restroom.
Oh no.
And so, like, those aren't the things that I think most people would want to experience, but those are the things that stick out in my mind. What about you, Ashley? What were some of your things you got to do that you don't think everyday people will get to experience?
Well, I remember one time I think I was working streets in Magic Kingdom, obviously, in Fantasyland, and there was like a trash bin behind where the Tangled restrooms are, and for some reason, like, I was back there and someone else had left like a big bin, but like just free trash, like not bagged, like it was just dumped in there. And there's like, you had to put the trash in a dumpster. And so I was like, how am I going to get this giant bin like lifted up into this dumpster by myself? And I was like freaking out because it's supposed to be bagged. Everything in that area is bagged. So, you know, you just toss the bags in there. So I was like freaking out. But like that same day, I was back in that area like later, and the fireworks were going off. And when you're behind the Tangled restrooms, you get like an unobstructed view of where the fireworks go off. Like, not even the castle is in the way. And so I got to watch the fireworks, like, and hear the music and just like see the entire firework go off in the sky.
Wow.
And it was just like the coolest thing to me, because I'm like, you know what? I'm behind a bathroom by a garbage bin, and I'm watching those damn fireworks.
Yes.
It's really beautiful. You're just like, aw.
Yeah, that definitely summed up my program, I think.
The trash
That's
princess.
a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yes. But one, I think, really cool thing that I got to do working at Magic Kingdom is everyone speculates about the utilidors in Magic Kingdom. Like, guests and people who don't know anything about Disney think they're these magical tunnels underneath Magic Kingdom. And oh, it's so magical. You're not like allowed to take pictures down there. You know why? It's gross. It's not magical. It's just like utility hallways. But whatever, because Magic Kingdom is built up because it's built on swampland. So if they built down, everything would flood. So it's built up, and there's like this whole network underneath Magic Kingdom. So every day I got to go through those because that's how I would get to my areas. But there was one job that a set of custodians had to do every day, which they would be set to get all the trash down in the utilidors.
Mm.
And I only had to do that twice, which thank God, because I hated that job.
Aw.
Because I couldn't go outside. I was inside the whole time. You're just down in these
You're
dank
just underground.
taking trash out. It's like, well, you take all the magic of Disney away. Now I'm just left with the trash.
Yeah.
You're not a mouse, you're a rat. In those tunnels.
Literally, but it was very cool because I got to go through the entirety of all of the tunnels under there, all the different areas, and I was paired up with this one guy because a guy and a girl do it, so you can get all the restrooms down there. And I was paired up with this one guy who I think had been there for a while, and he was like super talkative. And I had anxiety. I didn't know how to make conversation with an adult man. So he just talked most of the time. But he did take me up to this area kind of near the end of the night, and we had a view of where Tink was flying over the castle. And so we got to see Tink fly like right by us and where she would like land on her building. And I was like, this is so cool.
That's so cool.
That's special.
Right? Because we were up in some like offices taking out the trash up there, and there goes Tink. And I was like, Tinkerbell. So it's really cool. That's something that I think not a lot of people get to see, but us custodian rats down there, we get to see it. So yeah, that was one of my favorites too. I didn't get to talk about the scary utilidors, but they did give me a very special memory. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I was going to say that I forgot to talk about when working in Magic Kingdom. I got to do like the Halloween trick-or-treating thing, which was really cool. I don't know if y'all got to experience that. I guess since you worked in Magic Kingdom, you probably, well, I guess you were during the spring, so you didn't get to see the festivities of the fall. But yeah, I got to dress up in the cute little outfit they have for the trick-or-treaters, and I got to like have these we had these giant barrels full of candy. We just like we like get as much as we could, like toss it into people's bags. But it was really cool. The treat shift it was called. So we got to wear these cute little bat headbands, and yeah, I love Halloween, so I thought that was really a fun thing to do. Although that's literally all I got to do is just stand there and just like shovel candy into people's bags.
I'm so jealous. I would absolutely love that job. You asked what kind of job I would want. That would be a seasonal job that I would be picking every time.
Yes, that would be cool.
It was fun. And sorry, what were you gonna say?
I say, were you allowed to eat any of the candy?
I mean, we may have put a little pieces in our pockets, you know, the good stuff. They had a lot of candy. I don't think a few pieces hurt them, but yeah, I was gonna say in contrast to that though, I did also work the New Year's Eve shift at Disney World doing like crowd control, and that was probably the worst shift ever because it's just packed with people. Do not go to the parks during the holidays. It's not fun. There's just so many people, you can't even move. And I can't control a crowd when I'm just like this, you know? Like so yeah, that was not fun. But,
no.
Yeah.
Alicia, do you have any unique places you got to see?
Yeah, so I got to ride. So when I was doing Kilimanjaro safaris, they used to have like cast member nights where they would do cool stuff for certain like cast members, I guess. I never saw anyone outside of the Kilimanjaro safaris group do anything, so we ended up doing Tower of Terror with the lights completely on, which I was like, wow, it was crazy to see, and actually low-key a little bit more scary in the dark because you see everything zoom by you. You are going really fast. But it was cool because every group had like a specific theme for the picture that was going to get taken at the top. So ours was like pajama sleepover gone wrong, and so we were all in our pajamas and had our like blankets and our little like pillow pets or whatever, and like when the picture got taken we were all like all scared, all cute and everything. And the picture that actually won was you know the guy who hosts the Twilight Zone intro video? He's like wearing a suit and everything. The picture that won the contest was someone had dressed up in a suit and just like crossed their arms, and everyone was looking back at him like all like, what? How do you get here? That's the one that won. I was like,
that's super cool. Rod Sterling? right?
Yeah, I think so. And then we went over to the other side and we rode Rock and Roller Coaster completely in the dark, no lights at all, and no music either, which was also really scary.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, it was one of the more. I was very nervous. I had only ridden Rock and Roller Coaster one time before that, so I had no idea where stuff was coming. So the entire time I'm like, I'm just here on the ride. It'll be fine. So I got to do that, and then in my professional internship program, I got to do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So I was behind the scenes of Everest. I went behind the scenes of Pirates of the Caribbean. I went behind the scenes of the Mexico ride. I went behind the scenes of Beauty and the Beast fairy tale one, where the really cool portal opens up from the mirror. Oh, magic. Love that thing. Like, don't get me started. I'll be here for an hour talking about how cool that is. But I was backstage of that. I went backstage of Finding Nemo's ride in Epcot. I went behind the scenes of I was about to say Leia the Land. It's not that. The land one in Epcot.
Living with the Land.
Living with the Land.
Living with the Land.
Living with the Land. Thank you. Oh my god, I don't know why my brain farted so much. My goodness, the flatulence there. Behind the scenes of that one, behind the scenes of it's now Mickey's Runaway Railway, but at the time it was the Great Movie Ride. I've been behind the scenes of that one. So I've been behind the scenes of a lot of attractions, and I cherish every single memory. I cannot tell you how much I cherish every single memory of being behind stage. And every single time I ride a ride that I've been backstage on, it just like reminds me of that time, and it makes me very happy. So, yeah.
That's so cool.
Wow. Well, my very last question. Do you have a favorite bathroom? In Disney World, not in your life.
This is the most personal question I've ever been asked on this podcast.
Think hard.
Okay, I don't have to think too terribly hard about this one. I think I'm like running through all the bathrooms in my mind. But I'm gonna say it's probably the bathrooms in the Grand Floridian Convention Center. Mm-hmm. They were very big and quiet usually, because I don't know if it just was like happened to be the time we were there. There weren't a ton of conventions going on. And they would also have like this giant stool in the bathroom. Like they were nicer bathrooms. And in there, they didn't use paper towels. They used like these little wash rags that you had to fold and then roll up into these fancy little rolls that got put in a basket. And I don't know, something about being in there, and if it was dead, we would just sit on the stool and roll towels, because they'd make us roll extra ones. That way, if there was a convention, you just had a basket of extra. Like, was so calming to me. You just fold your little wash rag, roll it up, put it in the basket. And so that's probably my favorite bathroom. Excuse me. What about you, Ashley?
I mean, it is hard to choose. There's so many wonderful bathrooms.
How can one remember all the bathrooms they've been to?
So many toilets, so little time. I think I will have to say my favorite bathroom is probably not what you think, because everyone thinks it's the Tangled restrooms. Of course. And they are wonderful and beautiful and so well themed. But my favorite restrooms are in Storybook Circus.
Plot
the
twist.
Train restrooms back there. It's right behind like where the water area is. There's a set of bathrooms back there. They're nice and big. The air conditioning is beautiful in there.
Yes.
It's train themed, and the choo-choo train goes by, and so you hear like the train sounds, and it's just like really cute and sweet and big, and you can always find a stall in there. And I personally always liked being stationed in that area because it reminded me of home because my dad really likes steam trains. And so like
Aw.
it just always made me think of like my dad when I was missing him. And it's just a really good bathroom.
Wow, I did
Aw,
not.
that's
I would have never guessed that. I don't think I've ever been to those
Me
bathrooms.
either.
They're
I don't know if I
they're
have
never
either.
busy.
That's amazing.
Like during the
Good to
day,
know.
maybe because kids like to play in the water area, but like that area is like dead by like 8 p.m. because
Mhm.
all the little kids play there and they're tired by then and they're gone. So if you need to take a dump,
That's the
Go
place
ahead.
to go. Just not on the floor or in the
You
sink.
know what?
not on the floor, please.
You
Oh,
have
God.
convinced me now. Whenever we go on our 10-year Disney trip
Yes.
anniversary,
We gotta make a
you need to
stop.
show us these bathrooms, and I will
I
be using the
know.
facility, not for number 2. I will use the facility because I have never been there, and
Ashley
now
and
I really
I-
want to.
We'll make our own pamphlet of all the restrooms you should visit. And that'll be our tour guide, our unofficial tour guide.
Right? Because the
I
train
do-
station is back open now. It was
Oh,
closed for a long time while they were building
sweet.
Tron.
Yeah.
So now Tron is open, so those bathrooms are back up. Well, they've always been up, but now the choo-choo train really goes by.
Yay.
I do want to ask Ashley, were there any additional poop stories that you didn't get to tell last time that you would like to tell this time?
Luckily, I don't think so.
Yeah.
my main poop stories I told were pretty traumatic. And there
That's
was
enough
like
poop.
right, there was maybe like some pee here and there, but nothing too traumatic. I did remember not a poop story, but during my training, the guy, we had like 2 coordinators or whatever that were training us, and they had been there a long time, and they had been custodians for a long time. And we were like kind of sitting there on a break, the group of us, and he was like, you know, being a custodian is really important. You know, the definition of custody is the base word of custodian, and custody is to own something and take care of it. So we really take care of the parks like we own them.
Oh.
And the other guy was like, you're trying to make it way cooler than it is. It's not that cool. I was like, you know what? We should all have his energy.
Yeah, his
Take pride.
appreciation. Right,
Yes.
for sure.
Any poop stories you missed, Shelby?
I don't think so. I think the sink was probably the worst of it.
That's pretty bad.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I think that's enough to last me a lifetime. You
So,
know.
yeah. Were there ever like, problems in the pool area that you had to deal with?
Actually, surprisingly, not,
Okay.
which is good.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank
Yeah, that
goodness for sure. Yeah, I don't think so. I did have to clean up vomit one time in the lobby, but it, not as traumatizing.
yeah, they have that little
as-
powdery stuff that helps with that, right? So-
Yeah. I did want to ask a bonus question real quick for
Bonus.
everyone, because this is something that we haven't all talked about yet. Is how do you guys feel about the Haunted Mansion trailer and
Oh,
seeing the Haunted Mansion when it comes out?
I haven't seen the trailer.
I don't think I have either.
Okay, well, I have seen the trailer, and I have to say, it looks really spooky. And I'm not the kind of person
Yes.
who does scary movies. I don't do scary movies. I get frightened very easily. And so I was watching it, and I was like, maybe this movie isn't for me. Yeah, it's Disney. Yeah, it's Haunted Mansion, but it's got some very, like, they're pushing the envelope on that scare factor that I'm just like, I don't know. But at the same time, I actually wanted to talk to you guys about maybe doing this for a future episode, is talking about the lore behind the Haunted Mansion, because apparently there's a lot of lore for each
There's a
Haunted
lot.
Mansion in each of the Disney parks,
Wow.
both in Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Paris,
Interesting.
Cool.
and like like who owned the house and why the ghosts are there, and you know who haunts them, and there's like lore for each of them. And I've been seeing a lot of TikToks talking about it because of course the movie came up, and so everyone is into it. And so I was like, ooh, episode ideas.
Yeah. There you go,
Sneak
Annalicia.
peek, future listener, you might hear us talk about it.
Ooh.
Stay
In
tuned.
October?
Ooh, in October when Halloween. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Perfect
Ashley, you are a
idea.
genius. Yes.
It definitely looks scary. If it says anything, I went to see Insidious 3 last night, and it was one of the trailers for Insidious 3.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I love scary things, so I'm very genuinely excited to see this movie. There's a lot of really good actors in it too. Like, I'm really excited for the cast. So
I need to go watch it now.
yeah,
Same.
During the day. Watch it
Yeah.
during the day.
Yeah.
Just in case. Just in
lights
case. With all the lights on.
Oh, gosh, it's really that scary? That's so surprising.
It's not like so scary to where like, because I've seen a bunch of trailers for horror movies where I had to turn the trailer off, or like I can't watch them at night or anything. I could probably watch this at night. I didn't turn the trailer off. I was able to make it through the whole thing. So it's not like super scary, but it's definitely gonna traumatize some kids, I'm sure. It'll do the job.
All right.
Oh, goodness. Well, I think that's all we have for this episode. The poopening part 2. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We have been the Girls of 309, and we will catch you in our next episode.
Bye.
Bye.